Hi Chakits, I have been following you and watching your YouTube channel for years.
I have decided to finally relocate to Las Vegas and want to start a new chapter in my life. I know you're the perfect realtor to help guide me to find my next dream home. I am looking for a modern kitchen, large backyard with a pool and a golf course community.
My name is Chakits Krulsawat with Simply Vegas, a licensed real estate agent out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I help buyers like this all the time, so if you're looking for a licensed professional, give us a call at 702-319-1092 or visit lvhomeexperts.com. Buying a home starts here. Is your credit score holding you back from purchasing a home? GC Credit Coaches is a repair company that's made easy. Their goal is to challenge and remove all negative errors that hurt your credit score. On average, GC clients see about 10.2 negative items removed over 4 months. Start improving your credit score today with a simple 2-minute online enrollment for a free consultation and a complete credit audit. GC Credit Coaches offers competitive monthly pricing, no contracts, no hidden fees, and the service stops once you are satisfied. GC Credit Coaches removes inquiries, collections, charge-off bankruptcies, and repossessions. Don't forget to visit gccreditcoaches.com.
All right, guys, welcome live to the LV Home Experts podcast. So if this is your first time tuning into the show, my name is Chakits Krulsawat, licensed real estate agent out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And today we have a very special guest, Nancy Li with KW, Keller Williams. Nancy, how long have you actually been in the business of real estate?
20 years.
20 years?
Yep.
Okay, so you have a lot of experience.
I have a lot of experience. 2004, when I started business, the market was getting hotter and hotter to the point like 2006, the market was sizzling hot. I did not understand the market could drop. But then in 2008, I had no business, like the whole market, the whole economy nationwide just crashed. And so the economy crisis really taught me a good lesson. So, but I didn't go with the market because by then a lot of real estate agents were just get out of the business because there was no money. But I really hit the bottom and then bounced back. And I stayed in the business. And now, like at this market, I feel really good because I experienced the worst.
So I want to go back real quick. So you actually became a licensed real estate agent in 2004. Okay. Around 2006, 2007, the market was like completely hot, right?
Correct.
Okay. Did you know that there was actually a bubble?
Actually, I was new in the industry and I was new in America as well. So I came to America really like at the end of 1999, 2000.
Okay.
So I got into the new world, a new country. I really didn't know much about, there was bubble. I didn't understand the economy. I didn't understand the society, the culture. There was a culture shocks and a lot of things in combination. I was just enjoying the new country, the new culture. I was like a sponge. I was learning everything and I was excited. I was making good money, you know. So that was a good life. And
now, out of all the places, how'd you end up here in Las Vegas?
Okay. My brother actually came before me, came to the States, and he was a student. When he first landed, for new immigrants, people tend to go to LA or New York. And he went to LA, then he went to Atlanta. So he tested water. Eventually, he came to Las Vegas. He fell in love, and he stayed. And then when I came, of course, you come you want to move close to your
Yeah.
family. And especially he said Las Vegas is a booming city. And it's true. I loved it. It's a smaller city, and I sense that this city is gonna grow. Is gonna really shine. Las Vegas is one and only in the whole
Yeah.
world to have this kind of an industry. It's special. So in the whole world, no other city is like Las Vegas.
Now, in 2004, when you got your license, was it at the end of 2004 or more like the beginning?
September
Okay.
2004.
Okay, so let's fast forward like 2005. This is like when the market was starting to get really hot, right?
Right.
How many deals did you actually do at that time?
Oh my goodness. When I started the first 6 months, I didn't have almost like none deal.
Really?
I didn't have money. I had very little money in my bank account. I had basically no money to buy a lockbox. I was reluctant to buy anything like a yard sign. I had no money, and I didn't know many people. I didn't have the database. I didn't, besides my families, and I didn't know anybody. So first 6 months, I really didn't know where to start, and the business was so new to me. I didn't know how to do real estate. So I at the beginning, I still remember I had this one buyer. I showed them some homes, but I couldn't close. I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And then by then, just nobody taught me how to do the business. So basically, the first 6 months was the darkest 6 months for my career.
And were you with Keller Williams at that time?
No, I was with Liberty Realty.
Okay.
Liberty Realty
Are they still
was,
around?
No, they're out of business
Okay.
with the crash of the
Okay, so
market.
so 2005, 2006, when would you say was kind of like the hype of the market?
I was so lucky. I should say 2006. That's 2.5 years after I got into the business. And so from 6 months later, I was trying to figure out like what's the right way to do business.
Yeah.
And I remember I was at the office all the time. I was at the office Christmas time, New Year's time. I was just working. Even without any client, I was searching online and see different articles and whatever I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
Basically, I tried to learn. It just, I wish I knew Keller Williams Realty because, Keller Williams Realty is an open book.
Yeah.
You just need to learn. But by then, Liberty Realty was one of the biggest local companies in town. I did learn the basic knowledge. Besides knowledge, skills is another thing. And you need more skills after you have learned all the knowledge from textbooks, from classrooms. Then the skills, experience, you need to learn from your own failure, from your mentors. But by then, I didn't have. So, but by 2006, when the market was really good, I already accumulate some clients, and I started to get referrals. And then the price point was high.
So what was the price point at that time for a home in like 2005 when you really got started?
If a couple walk into my office and say, I want to buy a house,
Yeah,
is $450,000.
that seems kind of high for the median price point for $450,000 in 2005, because the median price point today is about $445,000. It's probably $450 now as of today. But like if we look at 2006, right, the market is starting to get hot at that point. What was the median price point at that time?
Oh, everything was the median price became like $550.
Really?
Yeah, it went up really fast.
Now, I remember during this time period, the hype was there. Everybody was like fear mongering, like I got to get a house right now because if I don't get a house, it's too late. And I remember that I didn't even start my career in real estate just yet. You know, I was doing like mobile detailing at that time. And I realized maybe I'm missing out on something here. So I went to go get financed, right? And I got approved and I was like, okay, let's go shopping for a home. And I remember vaguely, I went to a condo in Henderson. I think it was like off of Green Valley or something like that. And I looked at this 2-bedroom condo. And I remember at this time, I think it was like almost like $280,000. And I looked at my payment. I was like, man, this is still kind of high, you know, for the kind of money I was making back then. But when I walked in, I looked around and I looked at the business cards that were on the table. Because for some of you guys that don't know, agents will leave their business card for the listing agent as a courtesy just to let them know who has been to the property. However, we have electronic lock boxes these days, so you don't really need to leave a business card. I don't, but there's some agents that still do. I remember there had to be like 30 something business cards. And I looked at that and I realized like, dude, I will never become a homeowner. And I told myself like, hey, I'm not going to buy a home, right? There's no way that I can compete. You know what? I'm just going to rent for the rest of my life. Now, I didn't know what I was doing, right? Because I was just young at that time. And I think that was like the best decision I ever made because by the time we hit 2007, the market crashes and I looked like I knew what I was doing. But it was just fascinating at that time period, like the FOMO of like literally missing out of buying a home during that time period. Like if you don't buy a house, you'll never get to buy a house. Now, let's fast forward till today. The market, I'm going to say it's actually pretty hot. Like people are still buying homes, but it's not to the point like how it was last year where people were literally waiving the appraisal and also the home inspections.
Yes.
But, you know, the market is still pretty hot. I mean, it's still pretty competitive. Like what you can get now today at $450,000 for the median price point for a resale. There are some options out there, but it is also pretty competitive. So my question to you is that you've gone through that cycle.
Right.
Right? Do you think we are heading towards that cycle again? Because a lot of buyers out there, they want to know, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't think so. The 2008, 2009, that was once out of 100 years. I don't think we could be going down that road, especially like lately. We just experienced that, not even like 20 years ago, right? It's like right now it's only 15 years from the last crisis. We still have that memory so clear. We don't tend to make the same mistake, I don't think. And that crisis was caused by the mortgage situation. You know, every mortgage lender was like everything. Every loan was stated income, stated assets, and you have a pause and you get a loan. And with your production, I look at you, I say, I'll give you $2 million of a loan and sign here. Right now, the loan industry, even though the guidelines are a little bit loosened up, but still it's pretty tight. You still need to show everything, right? Hey, I love you. Show me your W-9, your 10-9, you know, your taxes, your bank statement, and everything. And you need a down payment. By then, 2005 and 6, I was a loan officer as well. I know how it was like. Okay. And everything was 80-20, right? You borrow 80% and 20% is borrowed too. So it's basically you have a Ferrari and you drive it out with your credit and there's no gas and the market went down. You just let it go and just walk away and you didn't have any skin in the game. And even with the 20%, either you have a 80-20 first and second, or you have your equity from your primary home, you spread so thin, you borrow money and use that money, equity, which is not your asset, it's not your money, and you use that as a down payment and you buy more. And with that, you can put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My goodness, everybody owned 10 homes, and including me, and that's not real.
And did you end up losing those 10 homes?
Everything.
You lost everything.
Everything.
So did you do deed in lieu, or did you did a short sale?
Oh, I did a lot of everything.
Okay.
I did a lot of everything. My own primary home, I did a short sale.
Okay.
I was so lucky. That was a nice house, and a buyer just walked in with cash, and so the buyer could close quickly, so I could get the bank's approval quick, so we could close it. And because I was experienced in short sale, so I knew what I was doing, so I was able to sell my own home in a short sale successfully. So it didn't hurt my credit that much.
Okay.
And then all the other ones, I did a lot of everything. I did lease to own. Like
Okay.
I leased it, it was a rental, so I leased it. And a lot of people say, if I don't buy now, I won't be able to buy. So they say, let me lease, but I don't have good credit, and give me a couple years to buy by the end of the lease. So then there's a down payment bigger than a security deposits. And then every month he paid me on top of the regular rent, he pays me a little toward the down payment.
Okay.
So it's everything.
So you've gone through the experience, which is a good thing as an agent. Like I said, I didn't go through that experience because unfortunately at that time I just could not make those type of payments. And what I'm seeing today in today's market, and this is what I'm worried about, where if we take a look at the median price point for a home at $450, and the average household income here is $80,000, but if you look across the United States, right, statistics says that the census says that the average household income throughout the United States is only about $32,000. Well, home prices actually gone up about $430. My question is, are we coming into the same situation in 2007, 2008? That's what I'm afraid of, because now it's coming to the point where it's not that we can't afford the home. It's when interest rates are so high to the point where the payment is high.
Right.
Because a lot of people think like, I'm buying a home based upon the price. It's really not the price. When somebody buys a home, they buy it based upon what they can actually afford as far as a monthly payment, right?
Correct.
So it's starting to get to that point now because interest rates are probably about 8.25% today. And, a payment on a home today on $450,000, it's pretty pricey. And that's about 30% of their income or even higher. But I always tell people this, okay, if you only make $80,000 a year, but your payment is like $3,200, you have a car payment that's, at $600, you can barely afford to live. And I think people are really losing the quality of life, and they're becoming a slave to the monetary policies and the systems that are currently out there in place. So it's going to come to a point where how high can you actually raise home pricing, or how high can home pricing go to the point where consumers can't no longer afford it, right? And if they can no longer afford it, we don't sell homes, then do we have a housing crisis, right? Because now we don't have that supply to keep up with the demand, right?
Right. To me, this is more positive that the interest is higher, because then everybody can easily see if you can afford it or you cannot afford it. As long as you know what you can afford, only spend the money you own, you have, and then if you cannot own, then you rent, right? So there are fewer people, we lose the affordability. The affordability is dropping to own a home. So in that case, then the demand is dropping, right? And then so the market is slowing down, which is a good thing. Then
not for me. I want to make more money, guys.
Okay. So, but for the bigger picture, right? For the bigger picture, like as long as people don't overspend, then you are safe. Right? Don't overstretch. How I lost everything, I spread it too thin.
Okay.
This is like last year. You said everybody was waving appraisal. Everybody was jumping onto things like, and then that was a little scary to me, because I heard lenders started to talk about, hey, you bought a house 2017, you already have double your double your house value already. What about you take the money out, get an equity, and then buy another house? That's the start of repeating the old market. So then you start to spread thin. When the market drops, then you have two mortgages, and then
and if your
you
renter
cannot
takes off, and typically what happens, what I realize is that when you do that and you buy multiple properties, it's okay to leverage yourself out, right? But this is where the problem lies. When the market tanks, right, what happens is the people that actually rented your house, now they can actually afford to go buy a home because the market tanks, right? You have more inventory. The feds adjust the interest rate, probably drops it lower. Now, the home that they're currently renting, let's say you had 18 homes, and your tenant that was paying $2,400 a month, they realize my lease is coming up.
Right.
Why should I rent? Now I can actually go buy the exact same home. Now I can pay $1,600 a month, $1,400 a month. Maybe now it's the time to buy. They end up going out and buying a home. Now you're stuck with this mortgage payment that you got to make, but you're already locked in at a certain rate, right?
Yeah.
And now you have a monthly payment. Another tenant goes. You as a landlord can no longer keep up with all the payments.
Exactly.
And then that's where the problem lies.
Right. So when you spread too thin, you have two mortgages to pay, and actually you're thinking your rent is going to cover your mortgage. You always have your renter, like you said, your renter leaves, they buy a house, so who's going to pay your mortgage?
Yeah.
So you have a hole here, and then you have to have your cash in the bank and then start to pay the rent. But eventually, if you cannot rent it out, eventually there's a hole. And then if you cannot afford it, then what? So that's a problem with investors that want to spread too thin, leverage too much.
So
don't over leverage.
Now, would you say that these are more investors or speculators? Because investors and speculators are two different things.
Right.
And what I mean by speculators, where they are speculating that, hey, I'm buying this, not making that much cash flow to cover the mortgage, maybe about $100, but I'm, expecting that the home pricing should go up even further. And that's what happened in 2008, right, with the crisis, because there was so much, pent up demand, not enough supply, and everybody was missing out on that FOMO, and they went out and they bought homes. And I've heard stories where people would actually buy lots and sell their lot positions, right? So that way they can make money. Like, that's how fast the housing market increased dramatically, and they were making, I've heard cases $100,000 like on one flip, dude, which is kind of crazy to me and very baffling. But I want to talk about today's market, because that's the past.
Okay.
Right? Because that's so much negativity. Let's talk about some of the positive stuff now. I want to get into the buyers, the type of buyers that you're currently working with.
Okay.
What is your demographics of buyers? Age group, mostly, females, males, or are they Asians? Like, where are all most of your buyers coming from?
Okay. So most of my buyers are right now, I can say 50-50. Investors and homeowners. Like homeowners, most of them are moving from out of town, relocating from another city. A lot of boomers are moving here. They're like moving from the Sun Belt, from the colder place to the Sun Belt towns, and Las Vegas is one of the major destinations for these people. I have people moving from Chicago, New Jersey, and even Colorado.
And I think that's the reason why we have so much demand, even though that people think that the housing market is going to tank. And when we look at when we look at real estate, right, in a whole, and you hear like all this negative news, you can't really lump Las Vegas into the whole negative news, because depending on where you get the source and where they do their analytics, right? Now, if we look at Las Vegas, when it comes to real estate, it's such a small niche. And the reason why Las Vegas market is still climbing, and this is just my thought, right? It's because if we take a look, Las Vegas is one of the newest areas or metropolitan areas that is growing. We have so much to offer. Then you just, like you said, most of our clients are from out of state. The question is why? Number one, they're baby boomers. We have over 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single year. So you have to think about this. If you have a bunch of retirees looking to retire, you just mentioned East Coast, they want to get out of the cold, right? Here, the taxes, no state income tax.
Right.
Remember, they want to save money. People just want to save money.
Right, definitely.
And based upon how rates are going so high now, right, people just want to make sure that they can move into a new state or new city where they're comfortable with a set payment. So you have to think about this, guys. Like when you're transitioning your whole life, you're looking around and you're saying, hey, should I go to this state, this state? What are the states that don't pay state income tax? And I think there's a total of, I could be wrong, anywhere from 7 to 9. I don't remember. So obviously Las Vegas is one of them.
Yep.
Right. So that's the benefit. Entertainment capital of the world. You know, we're on the west side of the United States. We can literally fly to Hawaii. We can go to, California. I mean, we have one-way flights all the way up to Asia. You know what I mean? So there's so much benefits.
Yep.
So I think what's happening is that's the reason why we have still so much demand coming in with low supply, that home pricing is still stabilized and still creeping up.
Right.
But I always say this, it's going to get to a point where the buyers can no longer buy. I don't think we're there yet here in Las Vegas. York, can you get some water, please? Oh, here's some water right here.
I have water.
Okay. So that's the reason why I think home pricing will stabilize and still actually go up. But I just don't know, like, how much more to the point where you're like, hey, this is probably it. And another thing I look at is that we printed so much money. As we print money, people need to put their money somewhere, like Bitcoin and all that stuff. But we're going to continue this. We're going to go to a quick commercial break.
Does your house look like and have you been considering remodeling your home for some time now? Well, if you love real estate like I do and appreciate the attention to detail in the craftsmanship required to build a remodel or a gorgeous home, then I got the perfect company for you. Guys, I highly recommend Design Zone Remodeling. They are a stellar company that will turn your outdated home into your own personal sanctuary. They specialize in bathroom remodels, kitchen remodels, and full house remodels. Design Zone Remodeling has a reputation for excellent workmanship, competitive fees, and being able to offer a wide range of services and deliver the outstanding results to their clients. I use Design Zone Remodeling on my personal properties. Give Design Zone Remodeling a call today at 725-223-0871 or visit their website at designzoneremodeling.com to request a free consultation today.
Attention contractors, remodelers, and homeowners. Is your renovation becoming a pain in the glass? Here at Glass Vegas, we take care of all of your glass needs. From a broken window to custom shower doors, mirrors, wine enclosures, storefronts, railings, and much more. We can even help you with new or replacement thermally broken windows. We're a full-service, woman-owned glass company that provides unparalleled workmanship, excellent communication, and great customer service. Glass Vegas. We do glass with class.
Welcome to Closets Las Vegas, the city's premier custom closet and storage company. We provide complete storage solutions for all price ranges and projects, backed by our 20 years of experience. Whether it's a closet, pantry, garage storage, floor coatings, entertainment center, laundry room, home office, custom bookcases, and window coverings, Closets Las Vegas will give you the look and feel you want in your home. Please contact me, Pat, for your free consultation, and don't forget to ask about 0% financing for 18 months. I look forward to working with you.
All right, guys, welcome back to the LV Home Experts Podcast. This is where we talk about real estate financing and the Las Vegas housing market every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So today, my special guest and Nancy Li with KW, which is Keller Williams. We were just talking about, your demographics of buyers. I want to go back to your buyers. So is most of your buyers right now, are they cash or are they financing? And also I want to talk about the type of financing of your buyers.
Okay. I have, I just said I have moving from out of town buyers, and they are cash buyers, and some of them are finance. And I do have investors, and they are doing 1031 exchange. They are selling a property in Northern California, and then they can easily buy 2-3 homes here. So they do have the cash. So the question is, like, what's the percentage of cash buyer and finance? I should say even 80% are cash.
80% of your clients are cash.
Buyers.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned 1031 exchange. Now, for some of the viewers out there, they just don't know what a 1031 exchange is. Can you explain a 1031 exchange?
1031 exchange is a tax defer, is a tax benefit for investors in real estate investors. And so basically it's a capital gain taxes you don't want to pay now. You want to defer it to later time. So you sell one investment property, then you buy. You don't take the proceeds and put it in your pocket. Instead, you use the proceeds to buy the next 1 or 2 or 3 properties. So this way you defer your capital gains tax. You save a lot of money, capital gains tax, and then the depreciation, recapture. Together, I think you save about close to 30% of your taxes.
Now,
yes.
Now, here's the thing. With your buyers, I mean, they already have like properties, right? These investors, they have properties in different states. So I guess my question to you is, do you know why the buyers are actually doing a 1031 exchange to, reallocate their portfolio here? Why don't they just leave it to where it's at? Why to Las Vegas? My question.
To save taxes, to save money. Like Northern California, like they have a higher percentage of their tax bracket and different taxes, and so they move the real estate investments to Las Vegas. They can save money on taxes, and also the return on investment is better.
Okay.
So the rental rate is high, like the rent on return on investment.
Yeah.
So the rental return is higher because California, with the same amount of money you're calculating, they must have bought their property years ago. So their return on investment still makes sense. But they're sitting on their equity. Think about it. So they sit on their equity, and with that equity, you can buy more property. So you have control now of multiple properties instead of one property. That's benefit 1. Benefit 2, then you can have different, like 1, 2, 3, you can collect the 3 rental incomes. So this way you can have more incomes, so you kind of not putting one eggs in one basket. And benefit number 3, here the property tax is lower, so the expenses is more controllable. So property tax is lower, and then insurance is lower too. So in this way, you can really benefit from all these different factors. People are thinking to do this. Also, there's one thing. Properties in California are older, so the maintenance expense in Las Vegas is cheaper. So really, they're selling their homes that built in 1927 maybe, and buy a property, multiple properties that are built in 2020 and 2017. These are newer, and so you can keep it for another 20 years.
That is funny that you say that, because I was doing the 1031 exchange for a client out in California, and you pretty much hit it all, dead on the nail, like every single point. you know, one thing that I want to add to what you're saying is that, you know, with working with one of my clients that did a 1031 exchange, they sold their properties, you know, one of their portfolios for like $2 million, and they were making a certain amount of return, but they realized by doing that 1031 exchange, number one, they saved 10%, right, on the state income tax.
Right.
They created a new LLC here. We went out, we bought multiple properties, just like you're saying, right? And we had higher returns, newer properties, right? In addition to that, this is more of a landlord state.
Right.
Versus California.
Right.
Because they were
Very
running into
true.
some issues. And that's what I'm starting to see a lot. Like, I think this year alone, I'm going to say probably about a good 20% of our transactions, right, are from 1031 exchange.
Yes.
And, you know, when you have a real estate portfolio, this is what happens. You start to invest across the country and you start to look around. Number one, it's the tax benefits. Then you typically go to more landlord states that favor the landlord. Because
Definitely.
when you're doing this, now you're running a business,
Right.
And you really want to secure your assets. Now, when I did this 1031 exchange, the client was going to actually buy a 7-unit apartment complex. But then I looked at the situation and I said, do you really want to go into this situation on a 7-unit? Here's the thing. It only makes sense if you bought like a 40-unit building,
Right.
not a 7, okay? She's like, what are you talking about? I said, look, based upon the amount of money that you want to spend, why don't we get single-family residents, okay? Number one, we're repositioning into more of a newer home. Number two, it's you don't have all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
So within your portfolio, now you got like 8 properties.
Right.
Not only that, we're still making the cash flow, cash on cash return, but then now we have an equity position should the market continue to go up.
There you go.
See,
I love that.
So you're hitting all strategies. Now, this
Right.
may not work for all the investors, and I think this is important as you as an agent to really, you know, sit down with your client and find out what their goals and their motivations are and really help them understand the financials behind everything, right? So that way you can structure their portfolio so it's a win-win situation.
Right.
And it
I-
just didn't make sense
yeah.
with a 7-unit.
I really no. I don't. I will be the same. I will make the same advice as what you did
Yeah.
to my investors. I would want to avoid the 7-unit.
Yeah.
I will make the same choice. I will say go to the single family because the appreciation equity building is faster because these single family homes will be the renter's future primary residence.
Yes.
So this way you will have one day there'll be demand for these homes, and so that's why like you want to collect not just your rental income, later on is your appreciation of the property value. So you don't want to lose that part. That's what I explain to my clients. For multi-units, that you can collect rent. No, yes, that's correct. No doubt about that. But when you think of resale, who's going to buy it? Another investor.
Yeah.
So you are selling to the investor and you are losing the primary homeowners.
Yeah, and when you sell to another investor, you need to make sure the cap rate is correct. In addition to the cap rate, investors, when they buy another apartment building, they're buying based upon what the type of income is. And savvy investors, right, when they buy these things, they want to do add value. So basically what I'm saying is if you take a lime or the lemon and you squeeze out all the juice and you maximize that profit for yourself, which is great, but then when you go to sell it, there's not enough juice to squeeze out. So the next investor says, yo, this deal is not for me. So what happens is when you have a demographics of investors, you start to narrow that down versus having a portfolio of single family residents, right? Let's say if you had 8 of them, now you're opening up the demographics of more buyers. So that way you have the potential to sell that property a lot faster.
Right, right. So exactly when you sell the 7-unit to another investor, the investor will do a mathematics.
Yes.
They won't never be like a primary homeowners. They're more emotional. then they love the house, they can buy it, they will pay high dollar on your the single family homes. But your 7-door multifamily unit, the investor will do a number, like how much you're paying, like rent you're collecting here, and versus how much is this building gonna worth, is gonna be based on how much rent you're collecting. That's how you calculate. That market is different from the single family market.
Yes.
Even though this is real estate, same thing, real estate. So that's why the 7-unit is more like a commercial.
Yes.
It's not a like your everyday life. You must have. Everybody needs a home to live in. So to me, I 100%. I agree with you. Go with a single family.
Now let me ask you this, Nancy, and I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick. When somebody calls you, right, because they have no clue about Las Vegas, and I get this question asked all the time. Okay. Hey Nancy, I want to be in the best location. What is the best location in Las Vegas? How do you respond to something like that? Because as agents, we can't say, yes, this is the best spot, the best location, right?
Okay.
So how do you explain that to a potential buyer and educate them, right? Because honestly, there's really not one best place, because I could say this is a great place and you're like, this is not a great place. Or
Right.
I can say, you know what, this place I don't really like, but then you
Right.
go there and you're like, dude,
Yeah.
this is a great place. You know what I mean?
So we need to slow down first. So I will need to understand what's the most important thing for you. Is that school? Do you have family living here? Like, do you have a job offer here? Like, what is important for you? Are you like, do you want to move into a retired community or gated community? What's important for you? So everybody's needs and wants are different. So I need to ask that question first.
So you're really helping identify what they really want. And then you can kind of repositioning them, or you can reposition them in a certain...
So I have been living here for 23 years. When
Yeah.
I moved here, this town was not so big, right?
Yeah.
So and then as a real estate agent too, like you show homes and you drive around and you understand the town. So when the town grows bigger and you grow with the town. So you pretty much, for me, if I see an address, I will know what kind of homes in this neighborhood and what floor plans and what even, like I pretty much see the street name, I probably know what kind of homes here. So when I understand what you want, what's important for you, so the home is for the client, it's not for me.
Yeah.
So I will pretty much, when you say this, I will make suggestion based on your needs. I say this is closer to what? Costco, or this is closer to the hospital, or whatever you need. Your job is gonna be like close to the hospital, and then what about here? So then I will, based on your needs, I will make suggestions.
John, you look like you're bored. However, let me ask you this question. John's actually behind the keyboards. I'm messing with him right now. So. Too bad we can't show John. Normally we have a camera, but we don't have that. There he goes. Look at that. We have some comments there. So it looks like a lot of things are going on with some comments. John, do you want to read one of the comments, like a good positive one or a question that somebody may have?
Let me get back to you.
All right. Or you can just make one up. Who knows? But we have tons of comments. So I guess, the format is working out really good. So this is our second show here live. We actually changed up the format a little bit.
Okay.
And the reason why we're doing it this way is because it's more personable, I
Okay.
feel. Now I want to go back to homes. On the buying side right now. Mm-hmm. Right? Going out buying a home. Are sellers giving out any concessions or any incentives? Like, what are you seeing on the resale side?
Okay. For sellers, right? Sellers, seller is giving? Seller is more realistic. So when the market was just going down from May of last year,
Can I get some water when you get a chance, please? Go ahead.
when the market went sky high last May, like you said,
At 485,000 guys.
everything was everybody was buying. Like I wouldn't, if I don't buy now, I would never own a home. to the point like it went down like crazy fast. So, but by before then, the sellers sellers' expectations was really high. They wanted this is how much I want. This is how I will not drop the price, to the point like the market went down, so the interest rate went up. So now, what I did was I really instructed my seller, say, let's just either lower the price or give the buyer money for them to buy down their interest rate. So almost like in all of my listings, I have about 10, 15 listings all the time. Like when we sell, then we have more new listings. And so by then, when the market was like that, almost every listing I will ask my seller, would you be okay to pay the BCC, buyer closing cost?
Okay.
So give the buyer the money, like 10,000 and 20,000 to buy down the interest rate. So that will make the sale easier for the buyer. You help the buyer to buy down the rate.
I remember that. And that's one thing good about Las Vegas. It's such a trendy market. It's so cyclical, which means it's like this alternating current. This is how real estate works here, right? Because people are constantly moving here. It just goes like this. So as an agent, you really have to navigate your clients through the market, because the market changes like that. Because I remember that as soon as rates were going from 3%, 4%, it's like, bang, how do we adjust? Okay.
Right.
We do the 3, 2, 1 buy down. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Now market has changed within 2 weeks. Next thing you know it, now sellers are starting to realize, okay, I may have to give concessions. We're going to give you a buy down. We're going to give you 10,000, 15, so that way you can buy down your interest rates.
Right.
So that worked a little bit. Interest rates went a little bit higher, and it got to the point where sellers are starting to realize, okay, my home is not selling. Maybe I need to make a price adjustment. But now a lot of the sellers, I've noticed, have made the price adjustments because agents have educated their clients, hey, this is what's going on in the market today now. And I feel like that has kind of really slowed down. And a lot of homes that we see in the market today, because the average days on the market right now is about 14 days. That means that agents are really educating their their sellers, and letting them know, hey, this is where we need to be priced at in order to sell.
Right.
And now when we have the buyers are coming in, I've noticed that on the buying side, sometimes we can get closing costs, sometimes we can't. Now, let me give you an idea. Like, I just negotiated one $70,000 off. However, the home was at $1.7 million, so that's a different story. So, guys, you can't be negotiating a median price point for a home that's fairly valued at $450 and say I want $70,000 off.
Right. Right.
It's all case by case basis, right?
Right. So it's about the value of the property.
Yes.
So really, you have to understand the market right now. For the past 3 months, the market has been leveled.
Yeah.
Like a market is not going up, going down. It's still the same. This stays the same. So with this being said, when the new listing comes on the market, you take a look at the comparables, to look at the neighborhood, and this is the price. You gotta be at this price, because you don't want to price high, and everybody understands the market. It's not like, hey, the trend is the market is going up, so you can really like put your property a little bit higher than the other comparables, and hoping your property will get sold, because market will meet you up there, and then you can get sold in 7 days, 14 days. No, the market stays the same. So to sell the property, you got to price right. You cannot price high. Yeah. It's not the going up market. It's not going down. So as long as you price it right, then your property will get sold.
Now, from a buyer perspective, no matter what state you're buying in, one thing that I would advise you guys to do, and I would highly recommend, is if you're a buyer, okay, contact an agent within your local city and ask them to set them up on a home search. Mm-hmm. How many bedrooms, bathrooms, location you're looking for.
Right.
And when you send over the property, set me up on an automatic search.
Right.
Because I want to know exactly what is going on. What is selling, how fast those homes are selling, because you may get 15 properties today, and you go back into your email to look at it, you know it's in pending status.
Right.
That's going to tell you as a consumer if things are moving. If somebody's doing a price reduction, you can see if you're getting a price reduction, right?
Right.
So as a buyer, this is really going to help you out to really understand the market. And typically when a client contacts me and says, I want a super discount at $400,000, I'm going to say, look, you got some options where you can still shop for a home, which is a good thing for you. However, if you're serious about buying a home in today's market here in Las Vegas, average days in the market is 14 days. Chakits, I don't believe you. That's fine. Let me send you the properties. So this is how we educate our clients, right? We send them the properties. They can see when they go back to the backlog, oh, shit, this one's gone. Oh, this one's gone. Oh, this one's gone. See, I told you. And this is a good gauge of really understanding the market, right? So that's what I would do, no matter what city or state you guys are in. So make sure to do that.
Right. So nowadays it's easier because it's easier to get your hands on of the information. You can see, you can understand. And the thing is, I educate my clients is you can see a big difference on price, but then what about location? What about year build? What about everything, the surroundings? So you have to make sure you're comparing apple to apple. And also the value is like what's inside the house. This house is different from the other house. What's inside. And I will say if you want to have a big discount, then you feel you have a win, then maybe this house is like priced too high already, then you get a price cut. But really, you got to understand what's the real price, what's the value of this neighborhood. So with that, the dollar per square foot, the year built, the interior, then you pretty much understand the market. And so you can be very accurately get the house what you want. So getting information, get the agent to educate you. If you are moving from out of town, get the local agent, local expert to help you from A to Z, right? From preparing yourself, what you need to do before you want to get into the market, right? Like you got to make sure your credit is good and you make sure you can get a loan and all of that.
Now, let me ask you this. The buyers that you are currently working with right now, as you go out and you shop for homes, are your buyers asking for closing costs? And what is the percentage of closing costs, if you are asking, that you can actually get in today's market that you're seeing?
Right now, pretty much everything is negotiable. Right now it's a very balanced market. I say it's a slightly seller's market. Okay. Right now the inventory is really low, and the sellers are pricing their property right. So when the buyer is thinking, oh, this is slow market, it's a buyer's market, I can ask for everything. Not always, not all the time. Yeah.
I've noticed that because when you go lower in the price point, right? And when you start asking for closing costs, it's a little bit harder, believe it or not, because there are other people out there, they want to get the home, right? And this is how it works. When you go lower in the price point, the harder it gets. The reason why is because what happens is interest rates are so high. People are so payment sensitive. They always want to get the lower price point, the lower mortgage. So they go, $400, $430. But then if it's a move-in ready property, you have multiple offers, and that person can pay for their own closing costs. They don't care. They're going to pay upfront money and get their, get the house, and they're going to have a lower payment versus somebody else going in there and asking for closing costs and trying to raise the price, right? To get the deal. At the end of the day, it's not going to work, right? Because the seller only cares about one thing. It's when the dust settles, how much money am I going to make based upon how this contract is actually written? Right. They don't care if you're Jesus. What they care about is how much money I'm going to make. That's it.
They have their bottom line.
Yes.
They know what they want from selling the property. My sellers, they are pricing their property. They're pricing it right. And so they don't leave a lot of room. There's still a little bit of room to wiggle, but it's not like, oh, I have my bottom line here. They always know how much they're, you go to the listing appointment, and then the seller always asks, okay, what's my net? So they always understand what their net is. So they say, okay, I'm leaving 100,000 for say, no, wait. 10,000 for negotiation. So with this, you don't have like tens and thousands of dollars that you can give to the buyer or the buyer can ask. And nowadays, I see more and more of the very, I cannot say qualified, but most of the buyers have 20%, and at the even higher price point of properties,
really?
yeah, they have at least
So-
20% down payment.
So are you still seeing FHA loans out there?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah,
Because,
it's very interesting. And
Yeah.
if they do FHA, a lot of times people just go conventional at 3% down. But honestly, yeah, a lot of my clients it will be VA, and that's probably
VA.
that's probably like only like 5% of my closings.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest, honestly, they're literally putting down 10% or typically 20% down.
Right.
So it's just kind of fascinating where nobody's really utilizing that FHA loan. I mean, that's probably like less than 1% of all my closings at this time.
Right. So when you say if you want to own a property
Yeah.
right now, if you don't have the down payment, you do FHA.
Mhm.
Probably renting would save more money for you
Yeah.
versus owning.
Because you
So-
have mortgage insurance premium and all that, and that's going to tack on another $180.
So I see we have property management team as well. So
Okay.
we have that section. So we see a lot of tenants are staying. They're not moving. They're not moving because they're buying or they just stay. So at this point of time, money is tight. Rate is high, money is tight, so their living style is kind of changing from like spending a lot. The spending habits is changing too. So people lay low to save money, so they stay in the same rental property instead of like buying FHA. Like you said, there's insurance
yeah.
insurance on top of everything too. Without down payment, they probably won't even think of owning. A lot of people stop thinking of owning a home right now, so it's not for FHA buyers. But VAs, I see a lot of VAs. They're very strong.
Well, I think also with the VA buyers, they really don't have nothing to lose. Is that me, John? Oh, I don't even know. Oh yeah, and you know what? It's over there somewhere. Did you kill it?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I just lost my train of thought. Okay,
Yeah,
with
VA.
VA buyers, okay, they really have nothing to lose if you think about this, okay? Because technically, you just put $1 down.
Right.
If you can get closing costs paid for, that's great.
Yeah.
You buy a $600,000 home. 3 months later, the market tanks. Let's just say it tanks. You pay $600, now it's worth $300. All right, I'm just gonna do a short sale. What do you lose? Your credit.
Right.
You have no skin in the game.
Right.
Now, if I bought a $600,000 home, I put down 20%, right? What is that? $120,000. I lose money. Now I'm thinking, okay, should I just walk away from this home because I don't want to make the payment? It's like, okay,
That's hard. Oh.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to stick this one out because I just lost
Right.
120. So
Right.
there's a little bit difference there, right?
A huge difference. $120,000 after tax money.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Exactly. So at that 8% in today's market, hey, you know what? It kind of weighs out. Not only
Right,
that, if the market does make the adjustment, right? As far as interest rates go down, I could refinance. Now, I always say this because a lot of agents will say this. Just buy a home right now. Interest rates could always drop. I'm not one of those agents, honestly. And here's why.
Good.
Okay?
Good.
Because what happens if the market does tank, right? And the feds, they try to drop the interest rates. And let's just say if they do drop the interest rates, but the market tanks to the point where you don't have enough equity to refinance. Then what?
That's what happened in 2008.
You need equity to
Yeah.
refinance, guys.
Right.
So that's what I'm worried about.
Right.
Now
You're a good agent.
the question is this, okay? Do you think the market will tank eventually? And if it does, when do you think it will?
I think the market will be adjusting all the time.
Okay.
Yes, but will it tank like 2008? I really don't see it. people have equity in their homes. Even they like bought it in 2019. They right now they
Well,
they have equity.
2015, 2016, when a bunch of hedge funds.
Yeah.
And remember, a lot of them, right, when they bought, a lot of people, if you look right now, the United States, believe it or not, over 60% of the homes are actually paid cash.
Wow.
40% is financing. Now, if we take a look at the 40%, I don't know what the numbers are because I forgot. I think it's probably like 18%. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the comments below. They all bought at an interest rate like at 3.2%.
Right.
And I'm one of those case studies. And I remember when I was doing a radio show, and I talked about this on KDWN, that when we refinance at like 3.2%, there's going to be a lot of us, right, that are going to be doing that. And once we're locked in, we're locked in. We're not going to go anywhere because what you just bought, you didn't buy the price of the home. You bought a mortgage at a certain interest rate.
You don't want to let it go.
Yeah,
You
why
can
would
never-
you?
It's a
Right?
gift from the God. That's really low.
Now, Nancy, we're going to wrap up this show, and I just wanted to say I really do appreciate you coming on out here, taking the time. I actually really had fun, and I love the perspective from, what you're saying with the market, and time flies when you're having fun. Now, I want to make sure that we get you plugged in. If somebody wants to buy a home, from you, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
Oh, call me. Call me 702-885-2013.
Nancy, I really do
Okay.
appreciate that. And also, you're on Instagram, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a link in the description below, right, with her contact information. So if you guys are actually interested in buying a home and want to work with Nancy, we'll have that full contact information. And again, Nancy, I really do appreciate, you coming on out here. Guys, if you guys
Thank
like
you so
more
much.
content like this, let us know in the comments below. Other than that, until next time, I'm Chakits, and this is Nancy.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.